experiencing this. Okay, Lisa, this thing, it doesn't, if I keep it floating, it doesn't want to change. There you go. Right. Okay. Just look at this beautiful quote of James Frazier. The best way to be formed in Christ is to sit amongst the elders, listen to their stories, break bread with them, and drink from the same cup, observing how these earlier generations of saints ran the race, fought the fight, and survived in grace. And this is what we are going to do this morning. We are going to listen to people who are actually doing these things. We are going to sit with them. We are going to break bread with them. We are going to sit amongst the elders, even if some of them are younger than us. Okay, just quickly introduce them. Anneline, or we call her 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗶. She is going to talk about home church, and she lives in the 𝗵𝗿𝗶𝗂𝗃, the beautiful valley of the 𝗵𝗿𝗃. Right, and then we will have Christo Jansen van Vuren. Maybe you would recognize that is the Gauteng, that is the Centurion Gauteng train station. And Christo is he's going to focus on grandparents and the role of grandparents. Barbara Marie Jacobs, she is from Port Elizabeth. That's why I put the dolphins there. And she will talk about worship service and her experience with worship service. And then Elaine Koktan, she is from Singapore, and she will talk about her experience with outreaches. Okay, so these are the people that we're going to have today. And I'm going to immediately go over and ask 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗃 to show your face. Good. All right. So 𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗃, you have been, let's start it from COVID. From the time of COVID, you have been involved with your own family in family worship. And
Yes.
every night you had family worship. And
Yeah.
you had your children. How old were your children at that stage?
Caleb, the youngest one, was he was 7.
Yes.
And Courtney, the oldest one, she was I think 15.
Okay.
At
Right.
that
Okay.
stage, yeah.
So a boy of 7, a girl of 15. Right.
Yes.
Then you invited your sister to come and join you and her family.
And her family.
All right. And then it
Afterwards,
started.
yeah.
Exactly.
We started it at home, and that is the time when we couldn't go out. So we started it at home, and we have these devotions every night at home. So
Okay.
and then I asked my sister to come, but I told her that she had to bring her whole family.
Yes.
And to join us.
And she also brought, in other words, she brought her children with. And now,
Yes, she brought the children with.
4 years later, you have grown into a church.
Yes, a house church.
All right. But obviously, you still meet in your own home, in your home.
Yes.
Yes.
We still
Now,
meet there.
yes. Now, maybe what often happens is if people move into a sort of a church setting, then they start saying, but the children are, maybe we should do something else with the children. Do something. They can go outside, they can go and play, because now we are busy with adult stuff here. Why did you keep the children? Because you didn't do that. Why did you keep the children in the church?
No, I didn't do it because from the beginning the children was involved. They were part of everything. So
Yes.
they were there, sitting there when we were doing the prayers, when we were doing the worship, and when we were doing praise and maybe a share scripture. They were always there.
Yes.
So I cannot we cannot separate them from us.
So it was never even in your mind to separate them, to send them away, to
Never.
start a Sunday school for your children.
No. They
Okay.
are involved.
Okay. They were always involved. But now I would like to know from you, I mean, what role do the children play in your worship services?
I just want to share about the smaller ones. They are looking
Yes.
up what the bigger ones are doing because
Okay, can I just interrupt? How old are the smaller ones now?
3 years old. There are
3
three
years.
of them. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they are 3 years old. They will just lift their hands up and look at the older one, and they do the same thing. But and when we do praise, they will run and they will just I think it's a performance or what they are doing, but they are enjoying praise as we are enjoying it.
Okay. So
running up and down.
you
And
have
even
this.
sorry,
Continue.
and even Caleb, I think there are, I think 4 of them who are the same age as Caleb. Caleb is now 10. And Caleb and the younger ones, they are enjoying it. They are dancing and worshiping some with us. If they will like really cry when they are in worship.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
They are really with you. Okay. Now,
Yes.
Caleb is your son. He was 7 years old. During
Yes.
COVID time, he's 10 years old now.
He's 10 years old. Yeah.
And now, so you have 3-year-old children, you have 10-year-old children, then you have teenagers, a group of
Yes.
teenagers. Okay, you have
Yeah.
young mothers, young
Yeah.
fathers,
Yeah.
and the eldest. How old is the oldest person in your church?
She's 61.
61.
It's a lady. She's 61. Yes.
Right. So 3 or 4 generations already together and you are
Yeah.
all
Together.
meeting. Now,
Yeah.
maybe I'm asking this because your meetings are not short. You meet 1.5, 2 hours easily.
2
Huh?
hours easily, because I just want to share with you what happened on Sunday,
Yes, please
because
do.
we usually take 1.5 hour or 2 hours, but Sunday I was sharing with the team when we were meeting on Monday. Something happened in the church. We get in and we greet each other and the others pray, but we started to sing worship songs, and 2 worship songs that we did afterwards. We started to pray, and those kids were there, the babies were there. We prayed for a half and an hour. There was no scripture. We were just praying. And afterwards, I was asking Caleb, did you enjoy what happened today? He said, I love it, Mama. I love it. I love it.
You prayed for 1.5 hours.
1.5 hour with that kids and everyone together.
And Caleb said, I enjoyed this.
He enjoyed it. He loved it.
So if you would have sent Caleb out, say, Caleb, this is not for you. This is the old people are now going to pray. I mean, how would you react to that?
I need to try that one because I never did it. I don't know how Caleb will feel, because that doesn't happen in our nation or in our home, because Caleb is always there. Caleb is really exposed in everything, and I think he's part of everything.
Okay.
And
Okay. Because you see, because we have assumptions. We assume that if you pray for longer than 10 minutes, children will be bored. Even if you pray for 5 minutes. Now you pray for 1.5 hours, and then you say, Caleb says, Mom, that was very special, very special.
Yeah, yes, because of, I think it's you call it a variety. The things that we had on the walls, the stations that we have made in the place that we are coming together. Like there's some stations that we put on the walls. So the others were standing there and praying for the road and for the nation, and they were praying all, and the others were laying on on the ground. So it was really something that I said to myself, I never experienced something like that, even for myself. I never was in a service that there was no message, or only prayer.
Okay.
And they
Maybe
were
can I ask you the other way around? Now, you know, you have 3-year-olds running around in your church services. So the old people, don't they complain? Don't they say, no, 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 we can't live with these children. Can somebody just do something about it?
Yeah, I think I think of a story that happened one day, when one of the 3-year-old girlie, she was just running when we had a guest in the house, and this one was like um, preaching to us, and the girl was running up and down, and the mother, I think the mom was very nervous of being disturbing the service, and I just take my hands like this and I said, come to me. And then I took the child, and I was just holding her the whole time.
Yeah.
And the baby becomes still.
Yeah. And Mimi, you are basically the pastor of this church. You're leading this
Yes.
church.
Yeah.
You share the word. You lead them
Yes.
in prayer. But you also
Yes.
set the example of how do we deal with a baby? How do we deal
Yes.
with a small one? And your whole
Yes.
church is following you in this.
Yes.
So Mimi, I know our time is basically finished, because you have only started now to share with us the amazing story of a church that looks like, I think, the first churches looked in the history of Christianity. The very first
Yes.
churches, the churches that Paul
Yeah.
visited, they look like your church. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What did you discover about putting generations together in a small home church like yours?
Um, I think I was just following Jesus' heart. For me, for me, I didn't want to change what I started.
Yeah,
I didn't want to change that
yeah,
because I started this at home and I saw it is really working for my kids and my husband. It's gonna work for everyone
yeah,
who's gonna
yeah,
join us. It's gonna work.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You just follow Jesus. Your church
I
might
just
grow.
follow.
Your church might become 100 people because you do all these
Yeah,
open air services. People are joining. They see the
yeah,
love, and the
yeah.
children are joining. But
Yes,
you would love to keep this culture going. To say, I don't want
yes.
to start a separate children's church. I don't want to start something where we separate the
That is
generations.
not even in my mind. I just I don't want to start that one. I just want to go with what we are really busy with. We are busy with, and these kids are really doing everything that we do. Even when we go to the open airs,
Wow,
they will stand there and they will speak the word
wow.
and they will pray. They will open in prayer.
Okay. Okay. Maybe we only started talking. I'm going to cut you now just because I want to go to the others also. But for those of you who are listening in, you have to have an appointment with Memi at some point. If you come to the Dorans, go and visit the church. It is it is beyond anything that you have ever seen. It is
Yeah.
absolutely a dream church of how the church, I think, should look like. So thank you so much, Memi. Okay, I'm
Thank
going
you.
to move on just for the sake of time. I'm going to move on to Christo. And now Christo he started a movement that he calls Grandparenting South Africa. Am I right? Yeah? What is it?
Yes.
Right, Grandparenting South Africa. There's a website even. I will share the website details with you later. Christo, you are from Centurion. You've been serving in the church there for like how many years were you in that church?
Almost 40.
Almost 40. All right.
Yes.
And you are retired, and Christo has 4 children and 10 grandchildren. Fortunately, most of them in South Africa, but there are also some grandchildren in Australia. But Christo, I mean, being a grandparent yourself, you've learned about the role of grandparents, the value of grandparents. What did you discover?
Yeah. Um, I think if I can talk about maybe a few principles that we discovered.
Yes.
The first one would be that it is us as parents and grandparents. It's our role to tell and to show our kids the
Mm-hmm.
good deeds that God did in our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we have to do that is because if you look in Judges 2, verse 7 to 11,
Mm-hmm.
it is written that Joshua, he died, and then all the others of his generation also died.
Yeah.
And then a new generation came forward that did not know about the deeds that God did
Yeah.
in the lives of Israel. So it is a privilege, but also a duty from a grandparent's side and a parent's side to tell the kids, but or tell the generations to follow.
Yeah.
It's not only telling them, but also showing them.
Yeah.
And that is in a practical way. The other thing that I think we learned was that we have to pray fervently for our children and our grandkids. And I must say that we did not do this always, but we started to do that once we came to sort of realize we have this big duty that we have. It's a purpose that God laid on to grandparents and parents. And so we learned from other people as well how to do this. So what we do, we've got 10 grandkids, as you mentioned. So we set up a chart next to where we in the morning meet together and pray together. And so on there's from Monday to Friday. And having 10 grandkids on every day, we pray for 2, and their pictures are on the wall. So that reminds us every morning that today we pray for this 2 and the next day for the other 2. But so that's a reminder for us. But the great thing about this is when the grandkids come and visit, so you do not do that in private sort of. It's open for everybody to see. So what happens now is when some of the grandkids, even those from Australia or from Cape Town, come and visit, and they will see their picture, and maybe it's a Wednesday. So Wednesday it's Larissa's day and Yanel's day. So that was today, and they will come and visit and say, "Okay, Grandma or Grandpa, did you pray for me this morning?"
Yeah.
And so that opened up a conversation, and so you do this not as I say, not in secret. It's open. The kids know what we do. So that's just one practical thing that we do. So yes, we must pray. The other principle is, you also already mentioned this, and it's intentional. It will not happen all by itself as a parent or a grandparent if you do not intentionally think about stuff that you can do and how you can do that. The fourth, if I can call it a principle, is that you've got your whole life to do this. And that's Deuteronomy 4 verse 9, where it says you must tell the kids, for as long as you live. So maybe you just live till tomorrow, but yes, you've got your lifetime to do this, and that's a duty. It's a purpose that God laid onto us. Yeah. So if you ask me what did we learn, I would say those 4 things maybe is the stuff that we learned, and we are trying to practice that.
Yeah. So Christo, I mean, for me, what I hear from you is something very important, is that you are also in a time of your life where you can reflect more. You know, it's almost like you have more time. I mean, obviously, when you have your own children, you are in your job, they are young, you're like it's just this stream running as fast. You just have to survive. But now you're a grandparent. You can observe your own children and your grandchildren. You have a different position that you can take in. But many grandparents are not prepared for this. They want to retire and go and fish. So how do you actually help grandparents?
Yeah, I would say that is one of the big problems, because our whole society is geared to grandparents now at this age of life, or this time of life. You must now enjoy yourself. So you even go and live in one of these nice resorts, or what do you call it? And some of them even, they don't allow smaller kids to stay over. They can come and visit, but that's about it.
Wow.
So I think that is a real challenge. And wherever we go and to speak to grandparents, and luckily there are quite a lot of opportunities in that regard. The moment grandparents realize that they've got this God-given purpose, something happens. Not everybody is changing, but yes, we need a change of heart for grandparents to and that's what we're trying to do. Well, I think we succeed, but it's still difficult for because we were not taught as how to do this. Although the Bible says it's sort of a principle that we must do it, but nobody taught us how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Christo, I think this is so inspiring for me because we also at Petra, we started to realize that we have missed the importance of grandparents. You know, they are actually in a golden era where they can implant the faith into the grandchildren and the children. Just one last story. You shared with me a beautiful story of how you also integrate, like for Easter, you come together as a family on Easter, and how you integrate your faith into the play and into just being stuff together. Just share that story, please.
Yeah. Okay, I'll maybe share another story also about Easter when we visited the grandkids in Cape Town. And what 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗴𝗶, my wife, did was she baked a cake. We've got two granddaughters there, and they were involved. So they were help mixing the flour and stuff, and they baked a cake, and then they used that as building blocks to manufacture like a Easter scene with the tomb and the three crosses, and the tomb could be opened and so on.
Yeah.
And on Easter morning, there's also a paper, Jesus was in the tomb. And so on Easter morning, we opened, and obviously we took out Jesus beforehand. And so, yes, now that the tomb was empty.
Yeah.
And later on, we ate the cake. But in the meantime, while baking and while manufacturing this whole scene, this Easter scene, obviously it was time to tell the story and have them participating in the story.
Yeah.
And well, depending on the age of your kids, obviously Easter morning, the tomb being empty, that mean a lot to us as Christians and for the life to come. So you convey that in conversation with the kids, and then prompt them to maybe, does the empty tomb mean anything to you?
Yeah.
And it's just a conversation starter, but you can have that conversation the whole Easter weekend while you bake the cake, and everybody anticipates, obviously, in the end to eat the cake. But the whole story. And yes, and there's more opportunities like that. I can maybe just show you something like this. This is a passport my wife is creating currently, and this is some information we got from Awana. I don't know if people know Awana. You know about Awana, but they've got beautiful stuff that you can use, and this is for Christmas. This is for Easter. Not for Easter, for Christmas, and it's the whole Advent, 4 Sundays. And we are on our way to our kids in Cape Town. This is the intentionality about it. So you have to prepare. We go down to Cape Town, and this is for 4 weeks. And this is like a passport. You can visit 4 different countries and see how they are celebrating Christmas, and then translate that to our own Christmas. And obviously there's a lot of stuff you can do about that. So that is a 4-week participatory with the whole family. After Christmas, the whole family will be here, and we will be talking about that.
Wow. Christo, I mean, there is, unfortunately, we have to stop now, but thank you again. I really would like people to connect with you because of your creativity in helping grandparents to just do something more than we normally do. So thank you so much. Afterwards, we will open again for discussion, but let me just jump forward, and I would go to Barbara Marie. Now, Barbara Marie, I'm just going to share, see if I can share your video here. I've been struggling now with my sharing, but let's just see if it goes. Okay, I'm going to go to that video you'll have to explain to us what's happening here. Okay, I'm going to. Okay, and I'm going to share another video, and then you have to also tell us what happened in these 2 videos. Sorry for the size, I don't want to make it full screen. Okay, Barbara Marie.
Hi. So the first video, unfortunately, I took it from the back, but it is our family service. that we have on Sundays at 8 o'clock. And so because families are up early with the youngsters, so you would have seen young kids, even babies, grandparents, aunties and ooms, the uncles, and then the parents of the kids. And we were singing a song together there. It's part of our worship service. In the beginning, we sing a few songs with moves, and there's some of the parents that do the moves more enthusiastically than the kids. And then there's some, it's a intergenerational service where our families, doesn't matter if you have young kids or not, everyone is welcome, and where our families are welcome, and we say like, the kids can move around and move freely and express themselves freely throughout worship. And then the second one was the second half almost of that, because we as a congregation said parents are primarily, we think, responsible for the faith formation of the kids. And so we want to empower them. We just want to have catechism or 𝗕𝗿𝗂𝗃𝗃, as we call it, or Sunday school where you have a teacher and a class full of kids. We want to empower our parents to have conversations of faith, Jesus, Holy Spirit, the Father, the faith stories throughout the Bible. We want to empower parents to have that with their kids. And so then the second half, it links to the family service. They do an activity together around the table. So then there's coffee, and then they have a little activity that they sometimes make and eat, and sometimes they make it and they take it home and they can put it up somewhere. So the whole thing about that is having a space where they can creatively connect around the table with each other, with other families as well, and make things. And as they make it, hopefully have conversations about it as well.
Yeah, and you integrate these two. So it's not as if people say, we are finished now with the worship, now we can go and have tea and go home. They stay for this. They say, but it's still part of the process.
Yes. No, so that's definitely part of it. So they don't go home, they stay there, and sometimes they stay there up until 9:30. So and then we're already busy with the next service. So the kids carry on, and sometimes the families carry on just having conversations together, and the kids are playing, and then they take that activity or whatever they made, something creative, they take that home with them. And so our house is full of it because my kids bring it home, and even because I'm not there always, I'm then responsible for the next service. It's so beautiful to see how many families just jump in and help my kids with their activity, because my husband's talking to the other parents. He loves the talking part and the connection part. So there's some of the other older children that are teenagers, sometimes teenagers, that then when I move past there, I see, they are helping with the cutting or the pasting or the coloring, and I can see that connections as well. And sometimes there's moms and dads that helps. So it's so interactive. It's not just our family. It becomes a bigger family, extended family.
Wow. Now, Barbara Marie, I mean, we heard now from Memi. She has a small home church, vibrant church, and people say, if only I had a small house church, I would also be able to do the same things. You have a more traditional church, and it's big. I mean, the building itself is enormous, and it's enormous number of people. But you do find it possible to apply some of the same principles, even though your setup is completely different from Memi's. What are the main principles that you try to apply with your worship service?
So I think the starting point for us is we want to we really yearn for a space where families can feel welcome. And we realized out of our traditional service to move it into a space where they will be okay with kids being kids. We will move into a space where some of them won't feel welcome anymore, and then it will take too long. And then realizing that maybe we should just see if we can start something new. And that's why we started at 8, saying let's start a space where we tell families, and everyone, actually, everyone is welcome. You don't even necessarily have to have kids there. And that is what we started seeing, is that the traditional service people start coming at 8. When I pitch up there, it's 7:30. They're already sitting and waiting for it to start, and they become part of the service as well. But we wanted to create a space where we didn't want parents to hush their kids or tell them to sit quiet or force them to just comply with whatever they think it should look like. But it could be an interactive space. So the things that are very important to us is greeting each other. And let me say this as well. What happened in the family service is spilling over into our traditional service more and more, because long weekends and holidays, we don't have a family service and a morning service. We just have we call it an integrated service, a together service. And so the things that we have in the family service started rolling over into our traditional service. So the big thing is we get welcomed and then we welcome each other. So greeting each other, reminding each other what our names, that's very important. So just being hospital names. Then we have announcements saying this is what's happening and this is what you can be a part of. Then we have celebrations. So we celebrate each other's birthdays and anniversaries. Like we had someone now Sunday, 61 years as their anniversary. And in that, we as a church, we don't have to say, oh, marriage is important to us. We are just celebrating the beauty of it and then praying for those couples. Even if you are in a new house or want to celebrate anything, we celebrated one of the teenagers got their driver's license, so we celebrate that. And so it just opens up our lives to one another through celebrating. Then we sing interactive songs together. And then we have this interactive prayer that I'm going to try and quickly translate it.
Please do.
So we say, thank you for the friends around us, and then we touch each other, the ones next to you. Thank you for the friends around us. Thank you for the love, your love with us, I think, and you in us. Thank you that we can, I want to say give over, but it's almost like, thank you that we can give you ourselves. Thank you for giving over. And then sharing, and then for your comfort and your presence in us. And then we say amen. So there's this prayer, and everyone does it together. And then out of the prayer, we have the message, and in the message, we break it almost in 2 or 3, because we have questions that the families then turn to one another, and the parents and the kids ask each other the same question. So it's not the parent asks the kids the question, or the grandparents or the Wimotani. They get to share. They have to share with one another this question, where it becomes the story that is shared, or the message that is shared becomes then also my story. We help them to almost draw the lines and listen to one another. And then out of that, we explain the activity. Towards the end, we do a prayer again at the end. Together. And then we have a blessing that there's people, and we invite the kids, anyone that wants to be part of the blessing. And it's based on, now I can't remember the psalm, but it's one of the short ones. So the people from the front say the blessing, and then the congregation repeats, and then say it again and repeats. And so it's just a blessing and a praising the Lord for what he has done and what he is doing. And then they go to the hall and they do the activity together. So that is basically, the different elements that we have, and and that makes it interactive and fun. And so most times there's kids in front that comes and stands with you, and they'll hold your hand, or they'll help when sometimes we play it out. Especially now during Christmas, we love playing that out. We did Exodus and Moses, so that we were the Israelites, there was Moses, we had Pharaoh. So we play in it. we want them to become part of the story.
Yeah. So involvement is very important. So unfortunately, our 10 minutes is up, but I just want, my last question is, do you see your two services, the 8 o'clock one and the 10 o'clock one, integrating at one stage or merging at one stage, that you actually have only one service for the whole church?
That is, I think that is the hope. I hope that we could get there, because I think what we've discovered is that it's fun.
Yes.
It's so much fun. It's wonderful when we work in teams, because it increases the creativity, the different perspectives, and it's fun to work together. It's so good to see how the different generations, grandparents, and how grandparents that kids are far away takes responsibility for the congregation's children. And the thing that we see is the curiosity increases in the people, like being curious in each other's lives and involved in each other's lives, and loving to see how the different little kids, older people are experiencing the Lord and responding to that.
Beautiful.
So I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, but I think, Marbury, just to summarize, you have started with something, and it has an effect on the whole church at the moment. And whatever the future is going to offer, you are patient. You are going to wait to see that. Thank you so much. I think we have 1,000 questions, but let's just quickly go to Elaine, and then and again, I'm just going to share a video, and because that will lead us into our understanding of what Elaine is busy doing. Okay. All right, let me just get to the right one. There you are.
Come on now.
Sorry. I'll do it again. I'll do it. I want you to see the whole thing.
Come on now, let's open up the book. Come on now and take a good long look and see God has given us all we need to be free. It's about you, it's about me, it's about the truth that sets us free. It's about 𝗕𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗴, love from the Father up above. It's about hope, it's about life, it's about the love of Jesus Christ. It's about everlasting, never failing love.
Okay, we have a team of 52 persons, from the youngest 2 years old to the oldest 82 years old, turning 83. And Andrew is with us. And you say, to God be the glory. Elaine, tell us, what did we see now?
Hello, everyone. Bringing greetings from Singapore, Queenstown Baptist Church. In the midst, we have Grandpa Andrew and even my own Papa now at the webinar. So thank you, Opa, for the support, and with my husband behind as well. So what you see in a nutshell is actually a Batam family mission. So just to help some of you, no idea where is Batam, it's 45 minutes of ferry ride from Singapore to Indonesia. And God has opened that door for us, because over in Batam is predominantly the Muslim community, but it is a Kairos moment. So before COVID, I bring a team, and that's where the one that you see is actually happening this year. This is our 3rd visit. But prior to that, God has given us the opportunity and also building up the momentum. having from the youngest of 2 years old to the oldest of 82. And literally we have intergen because we have children, youth, young adults, and the Oma and Opa. And not just that, they are not just people from our church. We also have people from the community. When they heard about mission, they asked, can I join? So one of the family, in fact, there are two. One is my daughter's friends in school. Another one is another family friend who have invited because of what they have seen in us, living together, eating together, even rubbing one another's shoulders, sorting things out. They see how we live together, putting love in action. And that draws the community in coming into our church. And in fact, one of the family started attending our church regularly. And in fact, the children and the mom are serving in my children ministry. And one of the boy has already moved on to the youth ministry. So in a nutshell, God can use young and old, serve together. And faith is not just taught, but taught on, because we see how we live. So whether is it our own children who need to also experience from the older generation, and older generation can also learn something from our children as well. So Andrew, who is in our midst, he is well loved. Having this little boy, 2 years old, will always, in the mission trip, looking out for this Opa holding his hand. And then Opa will be drawn towards him, and then they will share life and do things together. So never underestimate the power of, even sometimes as parents, we are thinking, what can a little one do? But God gives us children as the arrows and the key to open doors in our community and doors in the mission field. And whenever people see children, they actually welcome the little ones. So may God help us as a church to think out of the box, because we as people of God will need to bring ourselves into the community instead of waiting for community to come to our church. So that's how God is doing in our midst. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Elaine, so you take this group of people, you prepare before the time, then you go into a different context with a different language. And then the people, they bond, as you explained now. Now, Uncle Andrew and the little child of 2 years old, they bond in that context where they are. But also the community that you are serving, the Indonesian community, they also observe you. They also see this is what the Christian community looks like, and they are inspired by that. But can I just ask you, your children are now teenagers, growing into teenagers. Now, sometimes teenagers, they find these things really, irritating. They say, no, we want to do our own stuff. Just tell me about the teenagers on your trip. What role do they play? What is the contribution that they make?
Okay, so I've got 3 children of my own, together with some other youths in the church, because they come as a family with their parents. So we actually share life and do things together. So at least in our context, as a family, we started from young that we would like to do things as a family. So it's not kind of quite that they will think of an excuse or an option. So in fact, my dad is now listening on to my sharing. He is one of the direct recipient of he not attending church, but because I did the same as Mimi, a home church. And through our family devotion and prayer, that's how my dad experienced church at home before lockdown. And then now he is one of my greatest prayer intercessor and supporter in doing what we are doing. So to answer Dirk's question, having the teenager who may feel awkward of not joining, I think it is we as parents, we need to model, and other adults need to also integrate in welcoming. So if we can have this mindset of let's learn together, let's help one another. There's something that as a youth, you know, but I don't know. Can you help me and support me? And then in return, if we build our relationship in such a manner, we do not talk down, but we get them involved. So Andrew is one of our great example. As a Oppa, he is learning AI. And then I said, Oppa, can you teach me? Because I haven't come to your level now. So can you see? We should not let the evil one giving us that spirit of deception, thinking that there is this generation gap. I don't think this is God's design. God's heartbeat is to turn the hearts of children to their parents and parents to the children. And at the same time, together, God wants us to see from generation to generation, we will pass on that faith to have this shared learning. And in conclusion, once again, faith is caught and not taught. So we don't talk down, but we leave it out.
Wow. So you teach each other's life skills, you teach each other's just basic skills, AI, computer skills, and the teenagers, they can teach the elders, but the elders are open to learn. They are open. They say, you can teach me. I'm teachable. And of course, the young ones say, I'm teachable. It's a spirit that you have in your team, in your church to say, teach us. We are all teachable. Yeah. So Elaine, thank you so much. It is absolutely beautiful to listen to you, to all of you. And now I know we are close to the end of our meeting, but let me just explain what we're going to do is we can finish within 10 minutes, but then we will keep the meeting open. If people say, no, I would like to just continue talking, we will keep it open for another 30 minutes, but officially the meeting will finish in 10 minutes time. Okay. Now, I believe you have more questions than anything else now after you've listened to these four people. Any reactions, anything that you would like us to pick up from? I'm going to open the chat. I see there are already many people who have greeted. Any questions that you want to write in the chat, or you just raise your hand, as Lisa said, raise your hand and turn on your video. Then we know that you would like to ask something or even contribute. Because I know that people sitting here. Okay, Stefan, please go ahead.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I just want to thank all the speakers again for your contributions. It was wonderful and so inspiring. I've written a whole new page of ideas for stuff I'm going to try. I just want to make two remarks with regards to what stood out to me. I think it was Chris that said that he realized that we need to be more intentional on how to be part of children's lives. I really appreciated that. That word intentional is something that's going to stick with me. And I think it also plays out into what both Elaine and Barbara Marie also said on how to integrate the different communities. On the last point, I think you said something about, Elaine, both the elders and the young ones are teachable. So they need to be, that's an intentional decision they made. It's not something that we expect as leaders from them. It's something that is cultivated over time, being intentional with the young people. So thank you very much for the contributions. I've learned a whole lot.
Thank you so much. I think that word intentionality is a key word. It's a key word, and we have to return back to that word. Please, anybody else that wants to contribute? You can even type a question there. Just on the thing of intentionality, while we are waiting for somebody to respond or to react, as that is what Christus said. You know, grandparents, they are there with their grandchildren, but they are not intentional. They would invite their children and their grandchildren, but they are not intentional. So they say, "Oh, it was nice to have the children here," but they never communicated because they were not intentional. That's the thing with the worship service, with what Mimi also said. Gee, please go ahead.
I think for me, because I'm sort of in I was thinking.
Jenny, we're struggling to hear you. There's something with your connection.
Hold on.
Is it possible?
Better?
Okay, let's try. Let's try.
Okay. So for me, I was thinking, because I'm in the middle of the generations now. I have children coming up behind me and older generations in the middle. And I was thinking, there are some things in our church that we do very well, that we have prayer partners, older generations praying for the younger generations, and specific families praying for each other. But often it sort of stops there. And I was thinking, actually, there's lots that needs to happen. And God just said, well, it sort of starts with us. It starts with you, just starting with small things. And what can I do?
Yeah.
Setting, how can I influence change my own setting? And it starts with me. And that's sort of what, in terms of intentionality, if I start being intentional about it, then others will follow.
Yeah. Absolutely. Jenny, it is so beautiful to say, let's just see, where do I fit into the sequence? And it can start with me. You know, it can start with me. So let me just start. So thank you so much, Jenny. Yeah. Right. Anybody else?
I want to say something.
Yes, please.
I just need to turn the laptop. I hope the light behind is not too bright. Yes, so
Eddie.
Eddie, here with Henrik and Andre and Krista and Marietta. So the one thing that came through for me in all of this was the common factor that where this is working, there is a human connection, there's human compassion, there's human interconnectedness, there's human communication, and there's human care.
Sure. Wow, Eddie, I wish we could write that down. But I think we hear you very clearly. It is a very strong connection. It's all about connection. And this is obviously, I mean, this is who God is. God is a connecting God. He is a God of connections. And this is what you're trying to say. We just live out our image as God, in the image of God. But beautiful. Please, if you can, type those words in the chat, because you just summarized it so beautifully. Anybody wants to add to what he said?
Sorry, I can't get my hand up there.
Okay.
Speaking. I think the word intentional has definitely been a powerful word, and also in different contexts, in our different settings is also an important space with different congregations. So we've been very intentional with specific spaces, like for instance with our Easter time. We have a family journeys with our Easter time that we set up, that is specifically for families, and then your other spaces as well, that we do now during Easter. We do specifics, and then during holiday times when our services, we don't have children's services in our children's ministry, our services is geared towards families. So then that's those services that are during the holiday time is family focused. So the kids has flags in front and they can dance the flags and really enjoy the service in that space. So we can work around certain hurdles in creative ways, and not say, oh gosh, the church is maybe too big to do certain things, and we also plan certain family services into those spaces as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you more or less what Barbara also said is that she didn't just try to change the normal worship service. She said, let's start something alternative. And then that can grow into one service eventually, or it can stay 2 services. That's not the issue here. She just says, I'm not going to disturb something that we already have. I'm going to add something new and then eventually see where it goes. And I think that's what you're also saying, Louis, is that there are certain situations where you say, let's use this opportunity for a proper intergenerational meeting. But some of the other things, they continue for now, they continue as they are.
Yes. So for instance, we do a prayer and fasting time in the beginning of the year for our families and that, but then we create a special booklet for families to journey together for that time. And then, your older people can connect, and the people who singles can then connect with a single thing, then they don't feel like they have to kiddie, but then it's available online and everything, and then the families feel that they can actually integrate with their kids, and then everything is the same integrated message that goes to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing that we all agree on is you cannot force people into a new mold now. That's not the point here. The point is to say we have to create opportunities for people to connect, and across generations. And the more opportunities you create, the more it becomes part of your culture, the more it will help the church, and especially with the transference of faith. Okay, now we are basically officially at the end of our time. I'm going to stay around for another half hour. And anybody who wants to continue speaking, you are welcome to stay with me. But then I'm not going to do the talking, please. Then we have to pitch in from all sides. So if you are, as we said now, we are officially finished. The recording will even continue. The recording will be available. We will send the link to you via the same means that you did, that we use your email for that. So absolutely, everybody, you will be you'll have access to the recordings. But for now, if you wish to continue, if you want to leave, no problem. If you wish to continue, please then just raise your hand and ask a question, and we can continue. But Christo, Barbara Marie, and Elaine from Singapore, it's already quite late there. And then, of course, Memi from the Dorans. Thank you so much. You have inspired us. We really, really appreciate. Okay. Karin, please go ahead.
Okay, so this is not a question, it's just an appreciation.
Yes.
I have learned so much this morning, and I was thinking, Barbara Marie, I would definitely, I'm single, and I'm in the second part of my life, but I would definitely have joined your family meetings. And one of the reasons is that I miss the human connection, as I think it was Eddie that pointed that out. And I would have loved to just join any family at their table and become part of a place where I can have human connection. And I visited a meeting recently where I've been part of this group for a long time now. But if I didn't take a friend with me, I would have been, in a sense, a little bit ignored. And it's just because there's not a space created where we can form those human connections. But if I had been at your church, then I would not have been ignored. I would have been included. And I have much to share at my age, and I have many stories to tell and many things to contribute of how I am experiencing God. And I would have loved to learn from the children and the teenagers and everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I've learned so much.
Thank you, Karin. Thank you so much. Yes, this is what we're talking about. Okay, Eddie and the Namibian crew.
I want to say something. Dirk, I
Yes,
am
sir.
always excited about this, but I also hear that we are concentrating on services, you know, worship services, and changing thing or not changing, you're adapting to that. But the whole thing is, I think, to have a mind change to say, but God is using this so that we have a lifestyle of intergenerational,
Yes.
because it cannot only happen at a church service. And I think with Memi, one can see where the family started that. It grew into a community. And I think if we can have that mindset, that it's not only at the service, but that will grow into, or the families will start it, but it will grow into a community. And I think that is also, Elaine, I think that you said that, that it grew into the community as well. But I just want to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Andre, I don't know if you noticed, but Krista is standing into an angel there. The more she's...
I was thinking maybe they think I'm Krista. So if I may, while that happened, may I say something as well? Just on a very practical level, about we as a church decided not to have separate church services. So what we have is a fairly traditional kind of service, but all of us are welcome there. And on a practical level, what happened here is that the children welcome the people, people coming to visit or whatever. Everybody can do that, can welcome people, but it so happened that normally children does that. So they serve.
Yeah.
For them, it's not, so they are not served. They serve as part of the congregation. They welcome the people. We have another thing that we started only, recently, I think maybe a year ago. We have a box of musical instruments in front, and whenever and anybody is welcome to come and pick up an instrument and be part of the band. And this is a wonderful thing. The band gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's true that it ruins good music a little bit, but that's a minor. The important thing is that we have a big band, a huge band, coming from all generations. Our bands are anyway from all generations, but now we have smaller children, not in school yet, making music together. And I think that's a very important thing. The thing for me is, kind of the point that I want to make. If all generations can feel, even in church services, they are here to serve. If they welcome, they help with the music. It's not that we have to have a specific, what shall I call it, a children's moment. And we then serve the... We don't have a children's moment. They'll serve us. It's kind of like a children's moment in that the children also serve.
Yes, beautiful. That's okay, and I think this is what we heard even from Memi, that her son of 10 years old, he's serving in the church. He's even serving when they do these open air services. He's serving there. Elaine said how the children serve when they go on outreach. The teenagers serve the elderly serve. So Andre, thank you so much for that. Can I just, before Eunice, before I come to you, I just want to pick up from one thing that Krista also said is it is life, sharing life. I think Elaine, they share this, how they share life as an intergenerational body. You know, they have these Royal Rangers, they do camps, they do all kinds of stuff together. She can spend hours talking to you about what she has been doing intergenerationally, but in life, not only in the worship service. Okay, but Eunice, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you very much that I may attend this workshop. I found it extremely helpful. I minister to children at two community schools. It's now happened to be primary and high school children because the primary children have now grown up or gone into high school. So I have ages from literally grade 1 or even sometimes grade 0 up to 17 years old. And the teacher always says I must separate them, but then the little ones don't want to leave when I go into the bigger children's time slot. So I don't want to tell the children to leave. So now they just integrated most of the time. They just integrated. Now, I want to ask one question, and I also want to give one example. The one question is, like with grade 0 or grade 1, the one child, I can see he really wants to be there. He loves just, and I think he feels the presence of God because he doesn't really understand me. I don't think he speaks English. When I ask a question, he doesn't understand, but he has such a big smile and he just wants to be there. So that is sort of, you know, okay, you may be in this presence if that is what you want, even if you don't understand me. And I try and enact certain stories so that they get the message. But what do you do with a little one? I've got a very cute little boy, absolutely adores coming, but he can be very playful. So he will crawl under the tables and sometimes play on the piano. So just in terms of that, you know, I'm focusing on the group, so I don't always have the ability to discipline him with on the other side of the hall and focusing on this group that is moving somewhere. So that's just one question. And then a thing that I've just sort of adapted, I've taught the children to communicate because they were very insecure. And so they've now really started communicating well. But what I do is the children come at different times because the bell rings at different times. And they've all just got stuff. So some are really committed and on time, but some will just come and go. So what I do is I will tell I'll ask a child, does someone want to recap the message that I've just given up to now for the children that have come late? And that has been such a wonderful opportunity for their human communication to increase. And you see these little pastors arising, primary school and high school. So a situation which might frustrate a person, some people, but that's what the situation is. It's not going to change, you know, because it is after school and you can't enforce them. The 1 hour is in school time, but you can't enforce them after school time. So we're just grateful. I'm just grateful for whoever arrives. But that has been a solution, is to use the children to recap and to see how they grow in their human communication skills.
Wow, Eunice, that's beautiful. Just quickly, your context, because you speak about, is it the cross-cultural?
No, so I go to, it's 2 schools in our community area, so they're all children of color. I'm the only white person, which is extremely important to them because it has shifted their whole perception.
All right.
Concerning, so, but now I do have a minister from a church, and he's now said he will join me, and I also have another black pastor that said he'll join me, so that will help with the language.
So, but the language is not the big issue, but you just said, you know, you're not always sure about the very young ones if they're with you.
The little ones, the language, and then also if there's, you know, so sometimes we're in a hall or we're outside and there's a lot of space and then someone's running or playing the piano at the other side of the hall. yeah,
All right.
how to discipline that, because they want to be part, and the
Yeah.
elder children have now accepted they are part of the group, but
Yeah.
they can sometimes be a bit unruly. They don't
Yes.
want to go out. They don't want to go and play.
Yeah.
They want to be there, but they
Oh,
can't
okay.
always sit still.
All right. Okay. So to summarize what I hear, Eunice, you decided to be inclusive. That's basically your decision. You want to be inclusive, but that calls for patience and maturity and adaptability, and you run into issues, which is very normal in a context like this. Is there anybody that wants to comment on what Eunice said now? Because in boundaries, discipline, if you can call it like that. Yeah, Karine, you are raising your hand. Please answer Eunice.
Yes, Eunice, I had a similar kind of situation. And one of the things, it doesn't work with all children, but it has often worked very well, is you ask the younger child to choose an older brother and an older sister. And then you tell them, because this is your older brother and your older sister, you have the privilege to go and sit on their lap whenever you want to, and they will scratch your back. Because neurologically, you should tell them not like this, hey? It's like slow movements and going downwards, and even deep pressure going down relaxes even a hyperactive child. So at my one Bible club, I invited our cook. She was a grandmother, and that was the only reason she joined our club, children's club, is she was the grandmother, and anybody can sit next to her or on her lap, and she would give that deep pressure and scratching, and they would even the active children would even sometimes fall asleep because of that. So that's just one
Amazing.
suggestion I have.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. I'll
Okay.
enjoy that.
Thank you. You must get Karine's WhatsApp address so that you can call, have more conversations with her. But I think the main thing here is, Eunice, you say I acknowledge the importance of the elder children, how they can participate, how they can serve by even sharing the message that I shared with them. So you just acknowledge them, you make them part of the team. And I think this is the beauty of what we saw here. Thank you so much. Okay, anybody else that wants to contribute? Let's say take another 15 minutes and then we can close the meeting. Okay, we saw David Leong. David Leong is from Singapore. He has been with Scripture Union for ages. He's one of the most experienced children's and youth workers that I've known. So thank you, David, for joining us. Anybody else that wants to contribute? I can't see Andrew anymore. Is Andrew still on the screen?
Yes.
Elaine? Where is he? Because I would like Andrew, if you wish, just to share your experience as an 82-year-old going 83 of being with this team of young people when you go to Indonesia.
Let me check whether is he still around.
Yes. I couldn't see him. Maybe the screen is just. But in the meantime, anybody else, do you want to contribute?
Dirk, maybe I can just share a little bit about my personal journey. I think before starting the family service,
yes,
and to be completely honest, in starting the family service, it was very personal for me because me as a mom wanted a place that me and my family and my kids can be welcome, and I don't feel pressured to silence them or to keep them to sit still, because I know that they won't. That's not the way they learn.
Yeah.
And so just I have so much, I'm so thankful in regards to Mimi and her story, because we've experienced that as well with my kids 5 and 3. And we love going to different churches as well, different denominational churches. And if something is ecumenical, so there's all the different denominations come together with prayers and prayer meetings, then we love to take our kids there. And one of these prayer meetings, it's so beautiful to see how my kids also do what the older people are doing. They watch me as well, because sometimes in this prayer meetings I'm on my knees.
Yes.
I don't have to lead it, so I can just worship and be in prayer. And so then I'm on my knees and sometimes on my face, and then my kids will have flags or something where they get somewhere and they'll dance. But so many times they will join me, and they'll be on their faces, on their knees. And then sometimes my 3-year-old Mariela will ask me, she'll tell me, Mom, it's time to stand up. And then I stand up and I watch her, and she's raising her hands like this.
Yeah.
And then I
Yes.
join her in her expression of worship. And I have a last story. One time I just wanted to go to a congregation on my own, just be at the back. And then Esther, my 5-year-old, she was four at the time. She said, no, she wants to come with me to church. And now I can't tell my kid, you can't come to church with me. Although I just wanted some alone time as well. I said, okay, you can come with me. And so during worship, it's a Methodist church in our city. They have beautiful worship. And so she's there during worship. And as soon as they start talking, she wanders off and plays and sits with the different people. And also there, some of the older people told me, because I was walking behind her, they said, hey, she's welcome. She can do whatever. We're really okay with kids. And so it gave me just the assurance that I can just be at peace as well, and don't have to be worried that she's going to disturb anyone, because they don't see it as a disturbance. And so towards the end of the service, she went outside, played outside a bit, and I got her and came back into the service. And then I realized, oh, there's like this response time. Like, so out of the message, they asked people to respond. And so there were people standing, and they asked people to put their hands on people to pray for them. And so we were sitting at the back, and so there was a guy standing at the back, and I realized no one is around him, but I'm not sure why people are standing. I missed that part. And so I take Esther, and she's on my hip, and we go to the guy, and I just put my hand on him, and I said, so what's your name? Can we pray for you? And he said, oh, I said, I'm Barbara. This is Esther. Can we pray for you? And he said, yes, please. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, Jesus, I don't really know what to pray for. And so I'm just thanking the Lord for this moment, and that we are in his presence, and thank you for this person and what he's busy with. And then Esther taps me, and I open my eyes, and I'm like, yes. And she shows me his eyes, and she says, Mom, pray for his eyes. And I'm like, okay. And I say, sorry, so do you have issues with your eyes and your sight? And he starts crying, and he's just, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, Esther, put your hands on his eyes. And so we just pray for his eyes, and for the Lord to come and touch him and heal him. And so the next step, Esther taps me again. And I'm like, yes. And she shows me he's got chocolate in his trousers. And I'm like, okay, amen. So before she asked for that as well. But that was just so the beauty of kids being part of it, and yeah, it was wonderful. And as a mom, realizing how my kids are leading me in worship as well, and leading me towards the Father, that is so good. So I'm so thankful for that, and experiencing that. So thank you, Mamie, for sharing that as well. And yeah.
Wow. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And I think this is what we discover. Obviously, all generations are served. All generations. We serve each other. This is the whole idea. Sure. Okay, maybe there's a last story or a testimony like this. This is what we would love to hear from each other. Jenny, please.
Yeah, I had a similar experience a few weeks ago in our church, where the young people were told to pray for every single member of the congregation that day. So they went around and they were praying for the older generation.
Yes.
And the young man that prayed for me, he's 14, Ezra, and
Yeah.
he just prayed right into the situation in my
Yeah.
life at the time.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing that I mean, I felt like I didn't really need the prayer because quite happy for God to minister to me, but it was encouraging for me and for him that I could then turn to him and said, "You just spoke right into the situation,
Yeah.
and you are hearing from God," and to encourage him as well in his own ministry.
Yeah.
Because it was something that the leaders had just told the kids that they had to do this, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm getting it right, or yeah, just to encourage them that actually they can be used by God, and they are hearing His voice.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to share as well is just the experience of Thompson, my son. We moved to the UK in September 2020, so after the first lockdown. We said we need to go now. We need to move back home. I didn't want to. I was kind of left South Africa kicking and screaming. But God has just been sort of involved in that decision, and especially in the life of Thompson. The church we are in now. There's a group of young people, and mostly boys. 14, 15 up to 18. And Thompson is now at the age where he's looking at that generation and wanting to be like them.
Yeah.
They're an army of evangelists in our town, and those are the people that he's looking up to. So
Wow.
he doesn't want to be with me in a church service anymore. He wants to be with them and copying them and imitating them, and it's amazing. And also because he's a child with additional needs.
Yeah.
Just the way that the church has accepted him, and he's actually bringing other young people in with additional needs into the church, and yeah. So it's just amazing that it's how God works.
Yes. And the thing is, he has this blanket of support around him from you and from all the others. And now he's giving support. So he's a servant already. I think this is what we have been talking about all the time, the human care, the human service. So thank you so much, Jenny. Okay, maybe if there's a last one that wants to share. We are collecting these stories because these are the stories that keep us going. Yeah. Okay, maybe Christo, just for those who are still on board here, just tell us your website. I think I have a photo somewhere of that. We can also send it to you, but just tell us how can people reach you?
Yes, maybe if you can have got it somewhere, but it's you can just go to Grandparenting SA, and you will be able to find us. But sometimes it's better to type the whole thing. It's the HTTP. Is it forward or backward slashes and www and then Grandparenting SA. Because if you just type in Grandparenting SA, it leads you to some other places as well. So maybe if you it's just I'm not certain about the precise backslash or forward slashes or exclamation marks or whatever. But it's HTTP www Grandparenting SA. So it's Grandparenting SA, and then you will be able to find us on our website.
Yes, everything is one word. There you are. Thank you, Letitia. Thank you so much. Yes, and you're also connected with other grandparenting kind of movements in other countries.
Yes, we are connected in about 8 different countries over the world, and as a matter of fact, our colleagues in America is praying for today, this morning, and this evening. And we've got in the Dominican Republic, in Spain, in Greece, and in South Korea, Australia, So yes, it's everybody's got it's we are busy with the same stuff, but
Yes.
it's we are not one organization. So yes, it is, but it is growing. In Canada, we've got a couple of people in Canada as well.
Okay. And very soon you will have grandparenting Singapore. I'm quite sure about that.
Yes, yes. We've got Taiwan as well. So
Okay.
I forgot to mention Taiwan and South
Okay.
Korea, but yes,
Beautiful.
I think maybe we can connect with the people in Singapore as well. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. And Elaine, you are with Queenstown Baptist Church, website QBC, or what? How will people find you?
Yeah, you can just search Queenstown Baptist Church Singapore, and then you will see Elaine with my email address there.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. So the website that will help. Barbara Marie Sherwood, you have a Facebook, I know, but what is the name of your church Facebook page?
Yeah, Facebook page, it's 𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗶. So it's very Afrikaans, but
Yes.
𝗕𝗿𝗶𝗴𝗶. So
Okay.
people can have a look there. It's not very active at the moment, but we do share, and we're busy with teams trying to get our website running and sharing a bit more, especially so people can take this what happens at the church and apply it to their families and at their homes, and send it to their families that are in Australia, in the UK, and so we have lots of grandparents that wants to send it to their kids as well.
Nice. Okay. And Mamie is with Petra Institute, so you will find her with our website. Thank you so much. It has been delightful. The last half hour was just as special as the first. So thank you for all of you for participating, and we hope that we can have this more regularly and maybe continue keeping this topic alive. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.